Next on this weekend review edition of Bayou Time, we'll recap the week of July 18th through July 22nd, 2011. That's all next on Bayou Time.
Deep in the heart of the bayou, we are gathered here tonight. Now it's time for action, 'cause our lives are on the line. Tonight we'll do our very best to break through all the bureaucratic mess. The time has come tonight, 'cause it's Bayou Time. Show what Louisiana's all about.
This Bayou Time is hosted by local attorney Jason DeGate.
Hello once again and welcome to this weekend review edition of Bayou Time. We thank you for joining us as we recap July 18th through July 22nd. And to get things started, we go to Monday's edition of Bayou Time, where we had a big rain event on Monday. And on the desk was Martin Folse, and he was along with Terrebonne Parish President Michel Claudet as they took phone calls regarding the rain event.
When you woke up this morning, the rain was coming down, wasn't it?
Right, I got up about 4:30, went to pick up my paper, and right after that, rain started coming in. And it's been heavy all day. I've had reports from different areas. I had a report from the head of my drainage area, Perry Blanchard, and he indicated that his rain gauge at his house from about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when it started raining up until about 8, he had 4 inches of rain at his house, and then by 10:30 it had 8.5 inches of rain. In addition to that, I had reports from someone from Montague in excess of 6 inches of rain. I had reports on Bayou Black of 5 to 6 inches of rain. My pollution control office on St. Louis Canal gave me a report around 9 o'clock that they had 4 inches of rain around the St. Louis Canal area in the Broadmoor section. And we just were inundated. If you look at those reports that were given out of the my OEP director, Earl Hughes, it clearly shows that we had 6 to 8 inches of rain, and it has been a long day for the people in my drainage department.
All right, what I want to do, Mr. Claudet, we're going to go through because this is a lot of rain. I can only recall 3 or 4 times in 26 years having a rainfall amount that high, covering it on this news desk. Now, what we'll do, let's roll some B-roll, Jay, if we can, of some of the rainfall coming in. This was North Hollywood. We had camera crews, 5 or 6 different locations. But I gotta say that the amount of rain that fell in the parish, 0 homes had water in. Is that correct?
What we had places that people call. They call my office. They call the Office of Homeland Security to report the damage so we can do FEMA, and they call Public Works. Public Works, my office, HPD, none of them had reports of any home flooding at all. Now, my understanding, it's gotten in some businesses at a number of places, and where you showed along Hollywood Road,
right.
The area between Hollywood Road going towards the State Drive on North Hollywood Road, that area is, that has been a problem for probably the last 20 years, and we have just completed an elevation study of that entire area, and we had previously appointed Duplantis Engineering to come up with a plan to rectify that. We also had a major some flooding around the areas in Summerfield, around Pineland and Jefferson. That area has been a problem area for years. We requested it be identified. They've come up with a solution, and believe it or not, the solution is very minimal. It cost about $45,000 for the culvert replacements, and that's going to get done.
But we're seeing a lot of street flooding, and this is notorious. This is, I don't know if your office used to be around this area on Tunnel Boulevard, and we see this time and time again, but a lot of times in the past, we saw the water go into the home. So let me ask you, something had to go right. What went right that water did not make it? Made it into some businesses, but not homes. What went right?
I think there are a number of things that helped us this time. I would like to say the drought helped us, but I know myself, I was out this weekend all over the parish, and the ground was saturated from all last week's rain. So that's not what helped us. I think given the fact that it happened during the daytime when we have our employees up and around, that truly helped because we were able to put individuals at each of the major pump stations to make certain that they were happening, and that's substantially different than if it starts at 11 o'clock at night. And so that was a major thing. I'd also like to think that a lot of the improvements we put around the parish have helped all over. And we've added pumps at various places, like on Williams, we've added a pump there. We've improved the pumps all around the area. We just looked over them for our storm season. I think that could have helped in that area. And I will say this, I think we've had enough practice with Public Works, HPD, and the whole area that we now know what the drill is.
Yeah, I noticed that the information was coming out, and I got to give you a plug here. The information was quick. The police, to all police agencies, including the one you're in charge of, Houma PD, but Sheriff Vernon Bourgeois, Sheriff's Department, State Police, everybody acted fairly quickly on this one.
Mm-hmm. Everybody. And I'm really pleased. We had them going from early this morning. I had a staff meeting early, and we knew that it was going to be happening, and we just told them that what needed to be done, and thankfully we got it all done.
All right, let's separate the fact from the fiction so that people understand, because a lot of people don't understand, and I'm not an engineer either, but these pumps are designed to take what, at the most, 4 to 5 inches of rain?
That's about as much as it can take in a 24-hour period.
Right.
And truly, over a couple inches of rain in a short period of time usually inundates the pumps. What we were pleased of, throughout our entire area, they had individuals indicating that the water was flowing. So our drainage arteries were clear. A lot of our normal problem areas, we had done channel improvements in it. It was at least moving. And what I was truly concerned about was whether or not there was any debris that can come in and cause major problems. We did have one of our major pump stations, one of the bar screen cleaners came off the track, and it was because of some debris that came in and hit it, like maybe a big branch or maybe some type of log in the system. But thankfully, because we had people there, we had our grade-alls that were there to clean off the bar screens and get us back in service.
Any areas that maybe pump stations that didn't go off and y'all got out and tried to get them working as quickly as possible?
We had problems at Lerat Street, and thankfully we had a number of calls, and the water was going up, and we had individuals back there. There are 2 pumps there. There's a diesel pump and an electric pump, and thankfully we got them rolling, and it stopped about a half an inch before it went into the houses. So we really are pleased on that. Snack Street, we have a similar situation with a diesel and an electric, and they had a problem along the Snack Street area, but we're not aware of any particular areas that it was there. One thing I'm really pleased of, and I'm going to knock on wood on this, is I was expecting more problems in Deweyville, Bayreuth Street, Margaret Street, Barrow Street area, around where the military museum is. Understand, we're coming out, we're putting a brand new pump there, and it's all completely funded for that particular area. And then in addition, we're doing the channel improvements for that area. After that big rain we had a while back, people came in and indicated that there were certain areas in that drainage area that there had been drain covers that had been welded shut. We unwelded them to let the water flow through, and we've since had a couple major rains, and it's worked much more effectively.
I think we have footage. We'll get Jason to give us footage of the downtown area, but in the past, Margaret Street, Greenwich, all those areas were problematic. How much more pump will you put on there when it's all said and done?
We're going to have at least an additional 48-inch pump that kicks out at least 50,000 gallons per minute, on that thing. So
that's good news.
That's going to be
for sure.
That's going to be a major, improvement. Now, Martin, we did have flooding downtown, street flooding,
Right.
and particularly the place that's always a problem is right by the courthouse annex. There's a corner right by Barrett and Good Street,
Right.
and there's an entrance to the garage there, and it flooded in there, and it flooded the bottom part, but we also
That's close by where you
That's
talk
close.
about. That's
And-
right by the CYO lot at St. Francis.
Correct.
But once again, like you're saying, street flooding. So street flooding is okay. Streets are big ditches in a rain event.
And for such a massive amount of rain, it was there. And I will say this also: after the rain stopped, it went down very, very quickly. But like I was indicating, in the sheriff's area at the bottom where they used to have the crime lab and so forth, they've since moved it. But my public works department and buildings division is now, for me, that pumps and pump it out right away. They sandbag the entrance, and we've been trying to find and locate the problem to that for quite some time, and I'm determined to ultimately find out what the solution to that might be.
Right, so let's bring up the map again, Jay, if we can. 6 to 8 inches of rain in some areas of Terrebonne Parish. Over how many hours was that, Michel? Did that fall?
It started right around 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning, and for the most part, it was over by noon. So
Okay.
you're talking about a very short period of time for that amount of rain.
All right, problematic areas that we've had forever. Not just you. I can go through 7 parish presidents, all had problems in it. Buquet Street area, Hollywood Road. Some businesses receive water, but on Buquet Street, you have an interesting proposition. What is that? I want to hear that.
Well, a couple of things. In the Buquet Street area, not only are we doing a drainage program that'll go ahead and remove culverts and allow it to drain better, but we also have just, in fact, it's about ready to come out, where we're going to be buying out people who are in very low-lying areas at the end of these arteries. If you're in the backs of these subdivisions, you're below the tailwater elevation, you'll be eligible for us to buy you out, and then when we buy those individuals out, we're going to demolish the homes and make it reservoir green space for, to prevent the flooding in the future.
And that gives the pumps a chance, the reservoirs, to catch up.
Correct.
So your thinking is, cost you a lot less to buy them out than to build a massive infrastructure to keep them dry.
To change all that. And that's not only there. That'll be at Roberta Grove. It'll be in the back of Westview Drive. We generally had tremendous problems in Broadmoor, but I've gotten reports that there was no flooding in Broadmoor, which we had a $750,000, almost $1 million that we spent in Broadmoor to alleviate that situation. And while we're over there too, you may have noticed that there was no flooding on Bayou Gardens Boulevard by Peterson's. And the reason is we put in a gate to prevent that flooding, and we were able to get there in time and close the gate so that there was no flooding that went on to Bayou Gardens, except for a little bit that started before we closed it.
The ring levee around Chabert and the gate system, that
Correct.
seemed to work pretty good.
We did, and what happened, we have some gates there, and we can redirect the flows to direct it to what's basically the Walter Land property in there, which serves as a reservoir, and it serves as a big reservoir until the event has passed, and then we open up the gates. It flows into our system, and very similar things happen on that.
It's almost like a little Morganza.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Hollywood Road, and that has been a problem for years on the businesses in that area.
There it is right here.
And I can assure you that that is presently being addressed. Councilman Picillotta is right on top of that, and we've just finished an elevation study. The Atlantis Engineers has already been appointed for that, and this is something that we will be rectifying, and I would anticipate it'll go up for not only construction and bid, but it'll probably be certainly within the next 9 months.
I know this has been, you're right, this has been on
On
Councilman
and on and on.
Picillotta's radar, and he has tried to take care of a problem that is, I want to say neglected, but everybody who's ever been in office has fought this problem, but it seems like now, you made a comment to me. You're not trying to fix these to put a Band-Aid on them. you're trying to fix the problem
We're trying to fix them.
on a whole. So that's going to take some time.
And that's the same thing that happened in Broadmoor, Allimont subdivision, Sunset subdivision, Savannah Road. Right now, we had people calling flooding behind the convenience store right at the corner of Savannah and 311. We have a project that's already, the documents have been signed. Byron Talbot is going to be working on that. That was basically $1 million project that came in under bid, and that's going to rectify that. And it should be beginning construction very shortly. These projects don't go real quick. You have to identify them and you have to get them squared away. And that's the same thing that's going to happen at Pineland and Jefferson and other places.
Then you got to bid them out.
We got to bid them out. We got to do all that. And unfortunately, we have to go for the lowest bidder, even though sometimes we'd rather be with a local company that we think that they would do better work.
All right. I think we're so programmed as a community, including me. Been doing this 26 years, so every time you have a big rain, and the face has changed, the parish president has changed, but I think every parish president sort of learns from the past parish president, and whether you do something about it is up to the parish president. It seems you have tried to take the cumulative approach to try to put the thing as a puzzle, which can be quite confusing and challenging at times, can't it?
No question about it. But, you know, there's plenty of things that have happened, and we've looked at this and looked at this over the years, but it's a matter of trying to get it resolved. Now, Martin, we're going out for construction, and I say bid. We're receiving the bids. I believe today we got it on Ashland Pump Station. In about a week, we'll be getting the Summerfield Pump Station. When we get the Summerfield Pump Station, it's going to be another 48-inch pumps that we're going to add. Bayreuth is right next to it, which is the Deweyville. We've done things all around that we're going to do that. One of the areas that really continues to perplex me, and a lot of it has to do with reservoir and the flows of the water, is that 11A system that includes the Bonanza Pump Station and actually goes from Bayou Terrebonne to Little Bayou Black. And that whole area, they have Bonanza Pump Station in there, they have the Lake Crescent Pump Station and Ellendale Pumps. And it all goes into Whiskey Bayou on one side, and then it comes down and also it goes into the Bonanza area and crosses over. And truly, that's an area that I think we need more storage capacity, and we have ideas, and we're going to get that thing fixed.
Because really, those all sort of get choked up in the smaller canals, don't they?
Oh, no question about it. And in addition to the Bayou Cane residents who've suffered over the years much longer than they needed to suffer. You know, in addition to that, we're talking about, and that's part of the reasons that you're having flooding all over the MLK area, all on the Hollywood Road, on the South Hollywood Road area, because of all the problems that you're running into. And that's all stuff that needs to be addressed and will be addressed.
All right, let's do this. So we'll take some phone calls, 879-1231, and then we'll take a break, then we'll come back and take some more. HTV, welcome to the program. You're on. Go ahead, please. Hello. Some reason we
Hey.
Yeah, go ahead. You're on. Go ahead.
I'm on the air.
You're on the air. Go ahead.
I'd wonder, I got a question from Mr. Claudet.
Go ahead.
This is the first time since they put the big jaws in the ditch from on Cleveland Street to go into the intercoastal. And it flooded here. What they had? They forgot to put the pumps on?
Where are you talking about?
What street?
On Cleveland Street off of Grand Caillou. It flooded.
Cleveland Street.
And this is the first time since they put the big pipes all the way to the tunnel.
All right,
While the water go behind the Honduras school.
All right, let me ask you something. Take a deep breath. I want to ask you something. How much, what are you talking, how much water came in, and did it get in your house or did it get in your yard? Tell me a little bit about the water.
Let me tell you, if it had kept on another 10 minutes, I'd have had water, and my house is 11 inches, 12 inches above the ground.
All right, so no water in your house, though?
No, thank God.
Okay.
All right.
But I'm wondering why we had the street was all flooded.
All right, let me let Mr. Claudet
This
answer,
is the
okay?
first time since they put the new pipes.
All right, hold on one second. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not aware of the reason. I'm going to find out if there was a valve or something that maybe should have been closed or should have been open that was not. But I'm sorry for the inconvenience that you suffered, and I'll make absolutely certain that that's going to be rectified in the future. I'm certainly hoping that the project that was meant to make things better did not make anything worse, and I'm praying that that's not the case.
All right, and that was a look again at Monday's edition of Bayou Time. Again, recapping the rain event. Most of the homes survived here in Terrebonne Parish as the flood quickly receded, and that was, of course, good news. We'll take a short break. When we come back, Tuesday's edition of Bayou Time, up next on the Week in Review.